Howdy, y'all. Welcome to CardBlitz. This is episode 11. I'm Kelly Reed, joined by my good friend and fellow host, Patrick Marshall.
How you doing, guys? How's it going?
It's all good, man. It's the start of March Madness, and the mayhem shall begin, right?
That's right. Oh yeah,
We'll definitely dig into that in a second.
yeah.
But I forgot to mention to you, I found that Cal Ripken Jr. card, that case hit. I wanted to show that off, see if you remember this back from the late 90s here.
Oh yeah. Now that you okay,
It was it's funny. Maybe it was one of the original one of ones.
gotcha.
But
That's
yeah, man, this was like I think it was a case hit. Going back to the grade eights episode. This
yeah.
was that card I was talking about, man.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't recall that, but then again, that late '90s era of collecting, was kind of tough. We just graduated college. We're in the workforce, so I
Yeah.
missed a few years. So
Yeah, I just
needed,
remember after his 21-31 run
yeah.
that was like a big chase card. Now they could be had for about I think like $5-6 on eBay.
That's not bad though. That's pretty good.
No, dropped down from the $30 price tag. I didn't buy it at that price, but back in the day, I remember it was soaring.
Oh, that's hype, man. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Back to the Orioles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Orioles. Yep. Sorry. Um, So today's
Wakey.
we have a birthday today. So March 20th, players born on March 20th, and Mr. Colton Cowser of the Baltimore Orioles turns 24. So pretty cool. He's actually a Houston product. So I grew up in Houston, and he went to Sam Houston State University, played his college ball, and that's actually That was right up the road from the Woodlands where I went to school.
Cypress
So
is
what's that?
Cypress, is that the name of the
Yeah,
town?
Cypress, correct. He's from Cypress area, which is North Houston, just on the other side, though. So, but lot of good talent around Houston in a lot of different sports. So it's kind of cool when I looked it up and saw that he's from Houston. So made me feel pretty good. But he's an up and coming player for the Orioles. So,
Yeah,
um,
last season he had a breakout season when he made the roster and also certainly
yeah,
expect big things from the outfielder in Baltimore.
yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how they can build on last year's success. Maybe make it to the playoffs again, which I think they can, and maybe go one round farther or something like that. So they got some young talent there. Jackson Holiday, Gunnar Henderson. I mean, you name it. They're pretty stacked.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that AL East is going to be stacked. It's going to be tough, man, with Boston and New York and Toronto. They're not going to back down either. So it's going to be competitive, even in Tampa.
That's correct.
Maybe in the next
Yeah.
episode we can get to like some MLB predictions right
Yeah.
before opening
Yeah.
day.
Let's do that. Let's analyze a division and let's do that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll
So,
just kind of predict and see what happens, man.
yeah.
Well, did you get any treasure trove finds or anything for show and tell? Any cards that you'd like to
I mean,
let
I
us
know
know about?
I've talked to you about this card, and I just came across it yesterday, and this is a pretty cool card. Now, I know we were talking about kind of the Tokyo series, or we were going to talk about it, but this is a
Yeah.
greatness returns card with Nolan Ryan, who's my favorite player, and Shohei Ohtani. Pretty sweet. Came out in like 2019 tops. Um,
Right?
there's the back of it, but
It is
top,
greatness, man. If you
yeah.
think you'll ever get something like that autographed, if you can.
Cool though. Look at that. That if you had an autograph on both sides, that'd be awesome. So
Yeah, that'd be
um,
a priceless kind of card to have.
yeah, it's your PC all day long. I mean, there's no way you'd get rid of something like that unless you really had to. Hopefully, you wouldn't. So
No, that's a keeper. That's what they call it, a coffin card in the industry. That one you're taking with you like
that's
King
right.
Fat, man, taking your
Coffin
worldly
card. I like that.
possessions.
That's right. Yeah, I came across that. I was like, whoa, I got to have this card. I don't even know what I paid for it, to be honest. It's just like one of those cool cards, like you said. So,
Definitely, man.
what about yourself? Find anything?
Yeah, I went to the Dallas Card Show this past weekend, and dude, like the Metroplex, it seems like every weekend in the month of March there's a card show. There's even one coming up this Saturday out in Fort Worth. I'm
Another
dude,
one?
I
Jeez.
don't know if that could be a topic for another day. It's like how many card shows is too many card shows?
That's
Because
right.
there's only a certain amount of pie out there, and we can all take a bite, but when it's gone, it's gone. So
Well, I think Charlotte has two or three. a year that I know of, and that's it. I mean, and it's they got smaller ones outside of Charlotte, but you have to drive like an hour to get there, and they're kind of out in the country, and it's just I think a lot of people go to those as well. Some of the same dealers set up there, but the good and bad about that, and we can talk about that. That may not be a bad topic next time.
All right,
So,
man. But I did pick up this caught my eye, and the price is right. And I couldn't say no, so I splurged and I picked up this guy,
ooh, nice,
a rookie card.
Mr. Dave Winfield,
Yep,
pretty
Dave
sweet.
Winfield. Yep. And so he's the only player to be drafted by like four teams in like four major league sports
Correct.
or professional
That's
league
right.
sports, and it's like, dude, and I felt a connection with when I saw the card, and then I thought about like in 1994, he was with the Twins, and ballpark in Arlington had opened up, and
Yeah,
I watched him hit a home run against my Texas Rangers. I mean, it was
yeah,
smack dab to center field, man, and I was just like in awe. Like I knew
yeah,
Dave Winfield, but to see that power, and he just launched it, and I was like, dude. And this rookie card, I was like, they don't make him like Dave anymore. Like four
yeah.
different professional organizations drafted him. You
I
know,
know.
NFL, NBA, ABA, MLB, and
Yeah. Apparently, basketball. He was supposed to be a stud in basketball. I mean, obviously, we were not. We were 3 or 4 years old at the time.
exactly. We're
In
watching his
yeah,
days or high school days, man.
but you could tell he had that natural gift where he probably could have picked up golf, cricket, bowling. He probably would have one of those guys. I mean, because
Pick a sport, man. He's
yeah,
gonna excel. He's an athlete.
the way he hit the ball. I mean, that swing, that stroke was so long. I mean, it's amazing when you see some of his highlights when he hit so when you saw that home run, it's probably pretty cool because
Oh,
you could probably
definitely,
really hear
man.
it.
Doing the research on him and seeing like, he had over 3,000 hits. He fell just shy of the 500 run club, homer club, but and he had a ton of ribbies too.
Yeah.
So, he got a World Series ring out of it with the Blue Jays, right?
Yep. And there's a really cool card that he had, I think, with may have to pull that out for show and tell in the next couple episodes. I think it was like a race for the something. It was like an 85 Donruss card. I don't know if it was him and Mattingly on it. It was a pretty cool card. It's kind of sought after card when we were kids. So
Yeah, if you find it, dig it out,
yeah,
man.
I will. I'll see if I have that. So
And
it's
then
pretty neat.
I was gonna say, and then while I was at the Dallas Card Show and I was going through like the treasure trove of dollar bin boxes,
Oh yeah, that's fun.
dude.
Fun. And
And so I've been working on this 1979 top set, and I found this error card, man.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah, with the Rangers. And so I was like, dude, I gotta scoop this thing up. It was pretty affordable and conditions pretty nice on it.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
There's a market. There's a market for those. I mean, I've had some oddball stuff before that I've kind of put on eBay or just to see if anyone's interested, and people buy it up. I'm like miscut cards,
oh,
cards with different names on the back than the front, and you're like, okay, I'm not really into that, but somebody likes that. I mean, that's pretty cool because it's unique.
well, do
So
you think whenever if you were to sell, let's say a complete set and you have all the variations with all the regular cards, do you think that commands a premium?
yeah, I think so. Okay, I think the effort to get that done should be the premium itself. So
By the late 80s, it was rampant, early 90s, the variations. But
yeah,
um, yeah, like I said, I scooped that up and noticed that. And I was like, got to take that.
yeah, it's
So
pretty neat.
on my way out, I found the last card I needed for my 79 top set, and that was this guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yep, Mr. Rose.
Pete
Looks
Rose.
like he's slapping a single opposite field right there.
Yeah, something about being a hits leader, but more
Yeah,
importantly for me, it's completing that set, man. And I did, when I was looking at doing some research and stuff on this set, I didn't realize that back then packs were only 20 cents
yeah,
for 12 cards.
yeah,
And I put in the inflation calculator. 20 cents then equals 88 cents now. You buy a pack of
yeah,
cards for under $1 in today's world in 2025.
yeah. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can't,
So,
man. So it's
and
interesting
you got to stick a
how
gum, and
economics.
you got to stick a gum too. Don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. Now I don't think I want to eat it from like 40 plus years ago, but
No,
back then, yeah. Oh, as a kid, man, that was the first thing. Got that? You start going through them cards and
dude. Hopefully, our our watchers and our subscribers. I mean, everybody has that memory of, or some of the older ones, anyways, of like having a mouthful of buying a box of cards, having a mouthful of gum, and your jawline is hurting. You can't stop chewing it, and you're going through the cards. You don't even realize what's going on.
do
Those
that, or
are
getting
fun
the big
memories.
league chew while you're
Yeah,
chewing the cards, or chewing the gum and going through your cards. Definitely, man.
there's
Oh,
nothing like this. Nothing like the smell opening up the grape flavored Big League Chew and smelling it right when open. Dude, I'm still to this day. Everybody can picture something in their life, and that's one I can remember.
that is too funny, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
getting on your bicycle and riding up to the 7-Eleven, or we had a what was it called, like a Mister a Stop and Go or something like that
yeah,
convenience
Stop and
store.
Go. Yep, I
Yeah.
remember Stop and Go.
So those were
Yeah,
like the two convenience stores that were within bicycle riding distance from the house, and they were in two
yeah,
different directions. So come
yeah.
along, let's go to 7-Eleven, and then the next day, right over to the Stop and Go and see what I could find.
That's right. That's right. That's cool. I like your pickup.
Thanks,
I
man.
don't
And
know.
I was gonna say, to wrap things up on the card show, dude, Saturday was just mayhem, absolute
Yeah,
mayhem, and it was like all these dealers were saying that it was like the busiest they've seen that show in a long time. And I mean, like I said, I don't know how much is too much, and we'll get into that in another episode. But apparently, Dallas Card Show's rocking it these days.
yeah. And so that was one put on by Dallas Card Show.
Yes,
So
sir.
okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they look like they're getting pretty big. So
Yeah.
it's
So what
good
else
to
you
see
got, man?
traffic. I don't know if we talked about this card before, but I love this '84 Donruss set, and
Huh?
I picked up this card not because I'm a big Mike Trout fan, but because it reminded me of being a kid collecting '84 Donruss. It's pretty cool.
Hey,
So
the exact same layout, right? On the
yep,
front back.
exact same layout. I came across that. I was in one of the dollar bin boxes, like you just mentioned. I go, whoa, what's this? I was like, I don't know, but I like it. I instantly had to put it in my pile. So
For a
pretty
dollar,
neat.
why not, man?
Yeah. And actually, a friend of mine is putting together an '84 Donruss set. And he's like, hey, man, do you have any cards? We don't trade? And I'm like, sure, I traded them all the time. And I was looking through my cards, and I did not have that many of '84 Donruss. And then I remembered they were hot, they were hard to get, and they didn't make as many.
Hmm.
So I think that would be a pretty cool set to try to go after for all the set builders out there.
Isn't 84, is that the Mattingly card? Is
That
that the
is,
big, that was the big
yep.
chase card back in the day with Don Russ?
Oh yeah, it was Manley kind of from the side. He's got his glove getting ready to field something. You still remember the picture in your head of the card. So
Well, and as you know, for me, like um I completed that 84 top set
yeah,
last year, with the help of coach and yourself. And so Mattingly was still, I mean, I think he was in that 84 top set as well.
he was. And there's some good cards, like the Ricky Henderson is nice, and the '84 tops and '84 Donruss. And they have
It
Nolan
had a
Ryan,
classic
obviously.
design to it too. It was a good
Yeah,
looking set.
but I'm a big fan of these.
The
The
retro,
reprints of these. I mean, somebody knew what they were doing when they did this.
that retro design with modern players, and yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's cool.
I think it strikes a chord with older collectors, those
Yeah,
that are over the age of like 30, that can
yeah,
kind of reflect back then and go, oh yeah, I remember this as part of my youth.
yeah. I like it, and so
All right, man. Well,
makes
let's say
sense.
on that 79 top set, the big chase was Ozzie Smith,
Yep,
726 card set, but they had this like 8 card subset in it called All Time Greats, I think.
yep.
Had
That's right.
like, had so yeah, it had like home runs, stolen bases, ERA, WHIP,
Yep. There
wins.
was a Ty Cobb card in there, a
Yeah.
Babe Ruth card. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So as a kid I remember, like, who's Ty Cobb? I don't know. Moving on. Next.
Yeah,
Oh, Babe Ruth, definitely. So
yeah,
Nolan Ryan, strikeouts.
yeah,
And then it would and I forgot who they had him compared with, but yeah, it was just kind of that learning experience as a kid, just looking at pictures, reading info in the back or stats. And that was
yeah.
fun, man.
Something like a Bob Gibson or somebody. So Nolan
I
Ryan.
think it's like Walter Johnson or something like that,
Oh, Walter. Yeah, okay, I remember. Yep.
definitely old school guys, man.
Walter Johnson. He has a card in that set. That's right. So
Yeah, so that like I said, 79 top set done. Gonna be able to put it, in the 800 count box
Yeah.
with a little padding in there, and then I don't know, man. I might binder it later. It's not, it's not a mint set. It's not even
Okay.
near mine might be considered good. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
it's a kit
if you
set.
binder it, yeah, if you binder it, the cool thing about that is you obviously you can see it. You can look at it first of all, and then you can kind of go through and go, man, I'm gonna the next card show I go to, since they're every weekend in Dallas, like you said, like
Seems like
I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade between 1 and 100. I need 13 cards that I need to upgrade to like a near mint, and then you slowly start going through it. It can be kind of fun to go ahead and binder it
Yeah, well,
at the
and
time.
again, it's to enjoy, and it's just part of my
Yeah,
childhood, that 79 set. So
yeah.
definitely, definitely, happy to get that Pete Rose and be like, and the error card bump Willis. I was like, man, it's a good day.
And it's amazing how you can get those pretty mint for on the cheap. You said that's the dollar box. I mean, I've come across those at Charlotte, and they have 77 tops cards of stars, like a Robin, like a Robin Yount or a Pete Rose, or 78, 79, and they're like $1. Sometimes you get them two for $1. And I'm like, these are back in the day, these were the cards that I was chasing, as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember them being like, it felt like there was like $5 a piece back then. I have no idea, but it's pretty cool to pick them up now. Even if I have 3 or 4 of them, if I come across a mint one, I'm going to grab it just because it's cool. I like it. So,
Definitely. Man. Well, let's talk a little March Madness.
yeah. So
My team is out. My team lost last night to Xavier.
yeah, I don't know what happened there.
They were up. They were up big at half. They were up at the halfway through the second half, and then man, it was a story of air balls and bricks, and
Yeah.
players got to make plays, man. So I don't know if the head coach Coach Terry's going to be around much longer. We'll see. I mean, he's not out there taking the shots, but Texas fans, they want wins, and they wanted to be in the tournament, so they're not in the big dance.
Well, I think they had some pretty good hype going into the preseason, the start of the season for that team, and then they lost way too many games to bad teams. And obviously they do a lot of ratings based on quad one stats, where it's against ranked teams. How did you fare as a team when they look for like seedings in the March Madness tournament, and how they do the top 25? But Texas didn't even win enough games to be considered for that.
No, they
So,
had to win last night as a play-in game to play on
yeah,
Friday.
yeah,
So it's a letdown, man. I mean, if for me as a Longhorn, it's a letdown. But hey,
yeah,
March Madness is here, and the games are going as we're doing this. And I don't
yeah.
know if there've been any upsets, but definitely want to get your take
Well,
on it.
well,
See how this
this is
impacts
this.
the card.
Yeah, this is a unique tournament, I think, because you've got 4 number 1 ranked teams, where all four of them could win the tournament. So you've got Duke, you've got Houston, um, Auburn, and Florida, and all 4 of those teams, getting a number 1 seeding in the tournament. I mean, they're all very, very good teams, and it's the great thing about the tournament, which a lot of people out there know this already, is anybody can really win. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's just one game. You win, you move on to the next round. You lose, you go home and you watch from the sidelines. So you get these smaller, teams that are ranked 14th, 15th, 16th in their, in or 15th in their seeding, and they're playing these big name schools. You don't sit back and not watch that and think, oh, they're just going to blow them away. Anything can happen, especially when you start doing the seedings like 8 plays a 9, 7 plays a 10. Just because they don't see each other that often, that makes it dangerous for the
But also in recent years, you've had some upsets of 16 upsetting number one and 15 upsetting number two.
well,
So
look at
NIL
last year.
deals, teams leaving early or players leaving early from teams. It's a
Yeah,
different era of March Madness than perhaps when uh turn of the century or even at the 90s, 80s, 70s, yada yada, man.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, last year's perfect example. Purdue gets knocked out in the first round. They were number 1 seed.
It
So
happened.
yeah, it happens all the time. But here's some cool stats I wanted to bring up that I like about March Madness is, of the SEC conference, 14 teams made it to the NCAA tournament out of 16 possible teams in the SEC. That's unheard of, and that's a record. Um, that's almost rivaling back in the day when you had the Big East teams, the powerhouses like Georgetown, Villanova, and you got those guys, and every single year it seems like you saw them in the tournament.
Consistent, yeah.
And the SEC was always known for football, so maybe you get like two or three teams get in, and then they would get beat like in the second or third round, the Sweet 16 at the very best. Now it's totally flipped. It's opposite. You get teams like Alabama, Auburn, and I mean, there's some good teams out there. Obviously Florida. So
And with NIL deals going on and players, moving to the NBA or moving to other schools, transfer portal, it's going to be mayhem,
yeah,
chaos.
yeah. And speaking of that, speaking of the NIL and speaking of players, I mean, there's some really good players to watch that I think are, they're all NBA ready. And if you're watching the tournament, look out for Cooper Flagg of Duke. I mean, he's a stud. I mean, obviously, I'm in the Charlotte area, so a lot of Duke fans here, a lot of UNC fans. And this time of year, this place comes alive. I mean, it's pretty fun living here when it's March Madness. So it's everybody talks about. Nothing. They all talk about college basketball way more than they do about the Charlotte Hornets,
For
which
like
is
the
their.
next 3 weeks, that's all. That's the
That's it.
March
That's all.
Madness.
And you could be sitting down having dinner, and the lady next to you is like 82 years old, and she'll start bringing up a player from Clemson. You're like, how does this lady know that? She's been, whoa, that Clemson's my team. I watch them for the last 50 years. And I'm like, whoa.
That's why it's your team, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's religion here. Let's put it that way. So, but being from Houston's got, a very good team. So I'm excited to see what they do. They played well last year and then 2 years ago, obviously played very well. But you're gonna have names of, like, I wrote down a couple names like this guy Johnny Broome of Auburn. No one really knows who he is, but watch the tournament. And some of these guys are going to become household names. Cameron Jones of Marquette. Apparently, this guy is NBA ready. So when the NBA draft comes and the lottery comes next year, I mean, hopefully the Mavs maybe can be part of that. I mean, and pick up one of these guys and build on it. But Braden Smith for Purdue as well. I mean, there's a lot of talent we'll be able to see. So that's kind of exciting.
How often do you think success in the tournament equates to like sports card success in real life?
The sports card,
for example, like Jordan, in the mid '80s.
Yeah,
he had a successful run with North Carolina, right?
Yep, that's right.
He gets drafted by the Bulls. At that time, do you think that Chicago fans said, "Hey, this guy, he's the one. We drafted him. Let's go get those 1984 or 85 star cards, 86 star cards." I wonder how, is there any kind of correlation between success in college basketball, at this tournament and popularity, collectability in sports cards?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask because I can't speak for what happened to Jordan's cards back in the day, but let's just equivalent to say Cooper Flagg goes number 1 pick in the draft next year, and say he's a Maverick, and the Dallas Mavericks have a pretty strong fan base, not just in Dallas, but they're pretty much internationally known. So I would think his cards would go for a premium. I would think people would be interested in that, kind of like Wemby did for the San Antonio Spurs last year.
Wemby coming from France.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different. But I think the tournament makes it makes him more of a household name. We'll put it that way.
Yeah,
there's kids out there who may have known who Cooper Flagg was if they're from this area, but maybe there's a kid like in New Jersey who's watching the game with his dad and goes, "Dad, who's that guy?" And then all of a sudden he collects
over
cards.
The game and
then he collects cards and he's like, "Well, Daddy, can we go to the store and get some basketball cards?" And then he pulls a Cooper Flagg and puts it on his mantle. And, there you go. It starts from there. Something as simple as that. Or even his daughter. One of my buddies here in the office next door, his daughter loves, basketball. And she collects basketball cards. And I think that's pretty neat. I think it's pretty cool.
Very cool that kids are into this hobby and it's about collecting and not just the flip, as we see so often in this, hobby now.
Yeah, I actually gave him some of the penny sleeves and little, card savers. I was like, "Here, have your daughter put some of these players in these card sleeves." And
protect them.
He sent me a picture from her room, and she has them on her bookshelf. And I'm like, "All right, that's pretty neat. That's cool."
That is neat, man.
So she can actually visualize the player. So,
Hmm.
but going back to your question, I think it could be extremely positive, not only for the sport of collecting and trading cards, but when some of these name players step up big on at the show and the collegiate level, and then they go on to the pros. I mean, I think it's great for collecting. So
Well, yeah, I guess much like football and baseball,
yeah,
uh, you got, alumni from these universities or fans of certain universities, and yeah, I guess they're like, hey, I remember this player in college, or
yeah.
now he's in the NBA, or if it's female, she's now in the WNBA, and yeah,
Yeah.
they'll go and collect those cards.
Well, see, I'd like to see it. I mean, I think translating it over to maybe women's sports. I mean, I think that the WNBA is gaining has gained a lot of traction in I think the last 2 years with Caitlin Clark,
Hmm.
and brought the spotlight to other players as well. I think that's only positive as well. I mean, I'd like to see the
Angel
success of it.
Reese of the Spark, LSU, yeah.
I'd like to see that
She's
continue.
getting her name out there too.
I'm actually going to watch. I'm going to watch some of the women's college basketball games just because of last year as well, and being around this area. I mean, some people get into the women's even more than they do the men's. I'm like, because
Well,
they're alumni.
that and the South Carolina Gamecocks,
Yep.
their girls or women's team yeah, they've had a lot of success.
Yep. Exactly. And they're right around the corner from where I live in Charlotte, so just a little farther south, and so you get a lot of South Carolina fans around here.
Oh,
So
all right.
that's pretty
Did
cool.
not know that. You're educating the masses of CardBlitz, aren't you?
Yeah, and what's cool is the Final Four is in Texas. It's in San Antonio this year. So I was
Yeah,
not aware of that. It's at the Alamo Dome. So
only
that's
a
pretty
five
neat.
and a half hour drive from Dallas.
Yeah, that's great for Texas. I mean, that's cool. I like it. So
Definitely, man. Do you think, with the Tops Now cards, do you think, I wonder if they have licensing for, NCAA and teams for
yeah,
like
that's
men's and women's basketball.
that could. I don't know if that's going to happen,
I
but
think
it could
Panini
happen.
does. Maybe
Yeah,
Panini's got that.
yeah. So maybe if it's a Panini Futures card or something or a series that comes out, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know if they have something similar to that now, but
The closest thing I
that's
can think of is that Bowman University product.
yeah. You mentioned that. That's right. But I don't know. I think the Tops Now is pretty brilliant. I like it. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, when the fact that that came out in 2016, and that's before I got back in the hobby.
Yep.
Apparently, it's been around for many years, but I do remember in 2023 jumping back in this hobby and being like, "Tops Now, what is this?" So, it kept showing up on my feed, and started doing some research on it. Next thing I know, I'm like getting these Shohei Ohtani Tops Now cards, jumping online, and back then it was like it was quick. Like it would say like, hey, you order now to get like the relic cards or the autograph cards or the numbered parallel cards. And so it was like first come, first serve. And it was always in the middle of the day. Well, like you got a job, I got a job. So I'm like, how's this going to be fair? And
Yeah.
so, card dealers and card sharks are out there swimming in the waters. And yeah, dude, they're getting all the good stuff. And, we're left with the scraps of, hey, do you want just a regular base now, tops now card?
Well, you're the one that educated me on the Tops Now. I'm like, what is this? What are you talking about? He goes, well, we need to know. I need to know right now. I'm going to get one. Do you want to get in on this? I'm like,
Oh,
sure, let's do it. Like making a
take
decision.
my credit card info. Let's go.
Yeah, because
But
it's now. You need to get it now.
I,
So
I looked up some print run numbers. Check this out, man. So like the Ichiro Suzuki hits 3,000 home runs or 3,000 hits.
does it? Yeah.
Number 3,000. They do a Tops Now card. Guess how many they produced back then?
I don't know, 1,500,
Hey, you're only off by one number, 11,500.
11,000. Okay, 11. Okay, wow.
But then like last year, you and I were talking about the that Seoul series
Yep.
when the Dodgers went to South Korea to play. And that card they made like 44,000 of those.
Okay.
But then you and I jumped on this one here, this the 50/50 card. You remember this?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
So the 50/50 card, uh it turns out they made they made something like five, no, 600, like 653,000 of them.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like,
And that's
it's
a
insane, man.
lot.
It's like
That's way too many.
653,000. I thought 44,000 of the Soul series, but we wanted it because we're like, hey, Shohei, first time in a Dodgers uniform, first card
Yeah.
of him in a Dodgers uniform with the logos. But
Yeah.
then 653,000, like 600,000 later on the, dude, they're going to be Shohei 50/50 cards for decades out there.
I guess what you need to do, which is always a good way of seeing how things happen in the card world, is just go on eBay and see how many are for sale. If it says like 1,840 of them, you're like, okay,
I need to hang out with you and learn that strategy. I just go and look and I'm like, well, this one's 299 free shipping. This one's
yeah.
499 free shipping. Well, if they
Well,
cost me $6,
well, the bad
I
thing,
can't
I
buy
mean,
them for less than what. Why buy
yeah.
these things? You know?
Well, that's the bad thing about it. I mean, people could start undercutting when you should get like a finite amount, like 50,000. Stop there, and if you see maybe 40 or 50 for sale on eBay at a time, or even less than that, and they're all $10 each. Well, guess what? It's $10, and that's probably better for the hobby than having everybody
Well,
be able to own one.
I mean, the closest thing I've got to that as of recent is, I went in on the LeBron 40K card here,
Okay.
and then, which I think, okay, hey, no one else is going to be breaking that record for a while. That should be a collectible item. And now Topps now is coming out with a let's do the points of regular season and postseason 50K card.
Oh,
So it's
really?
like, dude, really? Like,
That's interesting. I mean,
it's like the guys that bought the Shohei 40/40 card thinking, hey, this is awesome. He's in the 40/40 club. Then Topps comes out with a 50/50 club card.
yeah.
Is there, I
When
guess
does it stop?
what will the market bear? What will the market accept? And
Correct.
Um, the other thing is now with Topps now's following the model of like all the other Topps products, as far as like all the parallels and the out of 99, out of 50, out of five. Everyone's
Yeah.
after the one-on-one chase card. Can I get the autograph one-of-one card? And you know, obviously there's only one. Doing for the whole thing. Out of 653,000, there can be only one person that gets the one-on-one card.
Right.
It seems like it's a big gamble. Are you buying the card? Do you want to celebrate and commemorate the moment? Or are you doing it to get the one on one?
Right. Correct. Yeah. It's got a little gamble aspect to it. I
Yeah.
agree.
So is that the direction that collectors, maybe those that are flippers or investors, maybe they look at it differently. But as a collector, I'm thinking, yeah, it's just the moment. I wanted to remember that feeling and
Yeah.
get caught up in the hype of the one on ones. Can I get the autograph? And now they did one for this Japan series. I just saw
Okay.
like last night before I went to bed. Get the one of one autographed by Yamamoto and Sasaki and Otani and
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That would
like,
make sense.
this gold patch is or what this gold MLB debut patch is getting flown back to the United States first class so we can put it in our Tops Now Chase set. And it's like I don't know, man. It keeps the
Yeah.
machine, man. It just keeps
Keeps
going.
going. Speaking of like the inserts and cards like that, I read something the other day where this is the 2025 top series one card. There's a Barry Bonds autograph in
Hmm.
it,
And they're
and it's
looking
the
good
first time.
online.
It's the first time in 7 years he's signed anything, and he's done anything for any of the card manufacturers at all. And he doesn't sign autographs anymore. It's like the first time he's done that. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, it's good for collectors, and for fans of Bonds.
Yeah,
It also says, hey, Fanatics slash Tops, they paid the right price. That got his attention. He said, yeah, I'll go ahead and stroke a few of these graphs for you and make this happen.
yeah. I mean, hopefully he
If it's
doesn't
for the
hold.
hobby,
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't hold the grudge about the whole PED thing and wants to get back into like remembering that he did play baseball and he's played very good baseball before all that stuff happened. I mean,
Days of the Pirates, man, we can have a
yeah,
Barry Bonds episode, man, and get
we should have a Pirates outfield episode. I'll talk the whole time. It'll be great.
well. As we're wrapping up, let me stump you again with the trivia. And apparently, you are now 2 for 3.
Two for
Apparently, you
three.
missed the Paul Krause interception record.
Oh,
So
that's right.
your
Okay.
record's
I forgot
two and
about that.
one.
Oh, yeah. I
Out of
forgot.
three, you're 2-1 out of three.
Gotcha.
All
Okay.
right, here we go, man. So everyone knows that Ricky Henderson has the single season stolen base record, right?
Right.
Do you remember whose record he beat and the number of bases that were stolen? Do you want me to give you options or do you
I'm,
want to spit it
I'm going
out?
to say he broke probably Lou Brock.
He did beat Lou Brock.
And I'm going to say the number 130 is what he is what he, I think Lou Brock had 129 and
Uh,
Henderson had 130 because I think Vince Coleman broke Henderson's single season, something like that.
in that
He
whole
took
early 80s, you so
yeah.
yeah, when you're young, Henderson does have the single season with 130. He
Okay.
did beat Lou Brock, but Lou Brock only had only he had
Yeah.
118 stolen bases in 74.
Okay. Okay. See, I knew it was up
But you
there.
remember all the hype as a kid
Yeah.
about this taking place in 1982. You know, you were what, 12 years old, so
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading. I read this really cool article, and this is another. I'd like to bring. We could talk about this on another episode as well, but I saw this post on Reddit and on my collecting feed, and somebody talked about the value of baseball cards in 1982. There's a whole article on it, and they talked about the hype of the Ricky Henderson rookie, and they said, I don't understand all the hype about this, but he just broke. He's going to break. He's going to probably become the all-time stolen base record. He just broke the record by Lou Brock. And what year was that? Was 80,
82.
81 or 82? 82? Okay. So he just broke it, and his rookie card went from 10 cents to like 80 cents. And the guy was commenting on how the achievements of on-field play, made the player
Impact.
more, yeah, impacted the cards. And this guy was saying, I wouldn't pay more than 50 cents though. And I thought that was hilarious, just
Back
thinking of it
then,
like that.
if we
Yeah.
only knew now what, if we would have known back then what we know now, but and that's something maybe with getting a guest on the show or talking to couple of dealers, and they have to be old school,
Yeah.
to remember this.
Yeah. I'd like to have a dealer on who used to buy cases of cards maybe back in 1980, 1981 as a dealer, got the dealer case, had a tax ID number, get a case of cards, and what it was like to go through and what were you looking for? Valenzuela's rookies, or something like that. Something cool like that would be fun just to hear his stories and what he talked about. So
On that note, give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe. We're out of here.
okay, see you guys. See you next time.
Yep. Take care.